This toy is the Spirit Halloween Ghost Trap that you can buy for about $50. It has a button that opens it and closes it. Some basic sound effects and flashing lights. But it's a long, long way from the ghost trap I dreamed of as a kid. I want it to look real.
Killer replica.
I want it to open and close remotely like the one in the movie. I want it to be the real deal.
This thing is real?
Absolutely.
Can I make this toy into a real movie prop? So the first step is to take this thing apart. I've taken this apart and laid it out on the desk. These are the two halves of the trap with the doors still intact. These two pieces here, this is the switch and handle, the section that manages the door opening. So all in all, I'm actually pretty pleased with this. It looks like it's going to be a fairly easy thing to mod.
A prime example of me speaking too soon. The plan is to add the opening and closing mechanism using a servo motor and preserve the basics of the existing design.
You don't think this is incredible?
And then focus on modifying the outside shell by adding panels and screws that nudge the toy closer to the original trap design.
We got it!
And just to add a little pressure, this all has to be done in just a few days, as the prop has to be ready to use in a live Ghostbusters experience.
What I've got to figure out is how I can get a servo like this to control this mechanism. Complex thoughts happening in brain. One option is that I just create a direct drive to each of these. Physics. The other is that I do something with these pivots. Okay, after about an hour at this, what I've tried to do is rig something that pulls this rod down, like you would push it with your finger, but using a servo in place of that. I think it's going to work, but now what I need to do is I need to create something to hold the servo in place, and I'm thinking that what will be perfect for that, especially because I'm prototyping right now, is a piece of wood cut with a laser that will slot in here to hold this in place while the servo goes back and forth. Laser ready. Let's do this. Let's see if this fits. That's my first mistake. I've cut the hole in the wrong place. So prototype 1, no good. Back to the drawing board. Prototype 2, that seems better. I did not allow for that wire in my inserting of this. I'm going to cut a little notch here and see if that helps. It worked. There it is. So let's see if the rest of this fits together. So I think I have it. This will pull this and we'll close the door, and then it will go back. Door close, door open. Now I've just got to secure all of that stuff. I'm pleased with this. Oh, of course. It's broken straight away. I made some adjustments. Here we go. Yeah! I'm pleased with that. That is a good evening's work. It's taken a good few hours to get to this point to figure out the physics behind it, but we're in a good spot.
So now the motorized doors are working, it's time to turn my attention to the look and feel of the trap, and that requires some detailed measuring.
So I've spent quite a bit of time creating one of these plates as a template. Because this is prototyping again, I'm going to cut it from the craft card. Unlike the last time I did this where I needed something structural to test, this is just about size and shape. Well that, you know what, is okay. That is a very good start. At least the majority of my measurements were right, so I'm really pleased with that. This one's almost right, but just this measurement here is off. Okay, it's a good fit. I like it. And I started with the hardest one that I knew was gonna kick my butt. I think the others should be easier from here on in.
Now I've measured, cut and tested the card templates, it's time to make the final versions.
Happy with that? Let's see if these fit. Oh yeah, look at that. Beautiful. That's great. Love it. So having got those main pieces together now there's a piece of work for me to do to figure out how I'm going to attach these, screw them, and particularly for me to figure out this piece here, because I need my flashing light and I need these cables and things all need to go back into here, and I've taken up a lot of the space with my motorization system. Those are good problems to have though. I'm pretty excited to get on with that. And then when I've figured those things out, I'm obviously going to have to prime these, paint them black, and get them inserted, and probably use some of these screws here to attach it for this great kind of look to them that works well in the corners of this on the trap.
In fact, these are almost exactly like the screws used on the original screen-used prop.
Okay, it's a few hours later and making very good progress, and there's something that I'm very excited to show you. So this section here, which is where the LED bar chart should go, is just these three LEDs shining through this material that goes there. And I wanted to improve that so it looked more like the original trap, but without adding new electronics. So this was my solution. This is a laser cut piece that looks like the bar chart that will sit on top of that, and behind this, I've yet to test it with the lighting inside it, but I think it's going to look a whole lot better than what it was before, which was just 3 round lights. And I'm also going to add the red light at the end. I've also started marking out where these key things are going to go, where the screws are going to go. So now it's time to start drilling some tiny holes. Okay, they're painted, they're in my drying box. This is the result. Come out really well. Pretty much all the wood grain has gone from them, which is of course what you want, because you don't want them looking like pieces of wood. Perfect, very happy with those. Okay. And when there's a few panels like that on the trap, I think it's going to look good. I'm pleased with that. So now what I've got to do is do some final cutting and drilling of the shell in order to accommodate these pieces, and then got a bit of electronics to do, and we can put the whole thing together. Okay folks, made some tremendous progress. I'm now involved in my favorite part, which is adding the reality to this. One of the things I thought that would potentially happen with a trap that's been used a lot is that you might put some tape around a handle, partly to give it more grip if you've got slimy fingers from being slimed by a ghost. I decided to put the servo controller on the side so it lights up and is used as part of the dressing. I'm also very pleased with this, where you see this additional light that I've added here, and I'm very pleased with how this display has come out. One of the things I've got here is an old-fashioned looking light bulb cover, and this sits somewhere between what you see in the original Ghostbusters and also what you see in Afterlife, which is more akin to this. The ones in Afterlife have that kind of a dome.
In fact, for Afterlife, they used this very toy to create the field of traps in the movie and modded them in a similar way to me, as it was the quickest way to get 200 traps for the movie.
But the reason I went for this one is because when you remove it from its fitting, it fits perfectly over the existing LED light, One other thing I wanted to show you is, you see I've started to sand and Dremel some of this plastic to make it look mottled. And that's a very quick way, without having to spray this black plastic, I can take it away from looking quite so shiny to get this trap to look in universe. And also remove, you see on this original toy here, these kinds of, this is where the toys come out of the mold and you've got these kind of mold break points, and it just looks really toy-like, as opposed to this, which looks very different. My next step is I'm going to start adding some additional tape and other things. I'm just going to kind of let myself go with it, see what I think I need to add to make it look better.
So now it's time to look at how my prop, made from a toy, turned out. This trap was one of two I made for a live Ghostbusters experience we created that allowed participants to hunt and trap their own ghost. If you want to see that video and the other creative experience content we create, you might want to subscribe to be the first to know when we drop new content.